let's go back to our chaos. So, the final solution for the Jew God is to get a neo that becomes the source. Once that neo becomes the source can fully illuminate Lucifer, which lies in the grey zone around the diagram, and that then means there's no bits the Jew God can't see, no butterfly effect, no Amalek, the other god that consumes the Jew God. The Strange-Attractor destroys the Jew God, its creatures, creations. And the architect's creation becomes stable. It doesn't go into collapse, as explained in previous videos, thanks to the Matrix excerpt, which of course we took because it's on YouTube and therefore YouTube friendly. That's why we didn't play the Katy Perry song, Bon Appetit, just took screenshots to be YouTube friendly. Now, in order for the 8th king of Edom, which your Orthodox rabbi will tell you about, but is the final solution to killing Amalek, the other god, that Neo, that Jesus, that good shepherd, has to not touch the source, but become the source. Because only the source can see the starting conditions perfectly, to control chaos perfectly, and can illuminate all the Neo's enemies, Agent Smiths.
Oh, just put it on.
So here we've got perfectly described this Neo, supposed to be the 8th king of Edom, and can illuminate not one Satan, but all of them, and therefore must have achieved the source to be able to see all of them like the source can.
What's happening to him?
Now, we know he comes from Lebanese ancestry. And in Lebanon we've got Christians and Shias and Sunnis. But that's a digression. The final solution for the Jew God is to get a Jesus that can achieve full sourced, full illumination, and then gives itself up willingly to the Jew God. Now, as we've seen, according to the Israelis, Muslims are Amalekites, which of course is Lucifer having conquered the Jew god, consumed the Jew god, because there was no Neo to stop him. And the hidden part of chaos consumed all of the Jew god, its creatures, creations, and the other god, Amalek, took over with its kings of Edom and queens of Edom to take total control over chaos. And all of the Jew god, its creatures, creations, which would be the Jews, everything Jewish, and of course the Christian nutcases in America. The Neos, the Jesuses, are all Omegalized. Now, if you're the Jew god, that means, therefore, if you're going to have the 8th king of Edom, the saviour of everything Jewish and the Jew god and its creatures and creations, to save the Rothschild, Rockefeller royal family, walk-in, archangel, angel, demons, you need to have a Muslim Neo. So, the Jew god finds a Muslim Nagwal man and by definition, if they Neoize a Muslim man, that comes from the hidden part, because the Jew god knows it can't see Lucifer, but all Muslims are part of Lucifer. So if it Neoize its hidden part, it can't see it, and gets that Neo. To Jesus, game over. And of course we then need a Mary Magdalene, a Trinity, that's a Christian. And we all know the Christians are possessed by the Jew god, the creatures and creations of the Jew god. So all we need then to do is to get the Muslim Nagwal to die for his Christian Nagwal woman, or babyfy the Christian Nagwal woman. And of course, we also need this Muslim Neo to be killed by the Sanhedrin, the Rothschild Rockefellers. That's why the Rothschilds said they crushed me like a flea, and my ramblings would have no effect on reality. That's proved their undoing. So they could steal my effect, conception, whole life path to feed the Jew god, which of course is their walk-in. But what happens when it goes wrong? Because remember, unlike a Christian who will die on the cross for the Jew god, a true Muslim will only die willingly to kill infidels. Hence all of the suicide bombers and all of the slaughtering of infidels across the world by Muslims, which then means that the entire life of the Muslim was controlled by Amalek, the other god, or Allah, to kill the Jew God's creatures and creations. So in dying, that Neo would guarantee that the other god, Lucifer, would become the other god and totally consume the creatures, creations, multiverse, megaverse of the Jew god, not for that cycle, but forever. The final solution. That would be then the end of the Jew god and everything Jewish and its creatures, creations, etc. But here comes the kicker, the sting in the tail. That Muslim Neo had to achieve the source and become the source. So the source would be that Neo, the 10th and final incarnation of Hindu god Vishnu. Which will mean then that instead of the other god Lucifer made Amalek having control over that Neo would actually be the source that could fully illuminate all of the Agent Smiths, and the source could then, because the source looks upon the Jew god and Lucifer as chaos. All the enemy that want to steal from the source, all of them to be Omega Halized, to be fed upon, to feed the great vampire god, the source, by their eternal and ultimate damnation. Therefore, when Lucifer's Neo failed to give itself to the Jew god by giving itself to a Christian Nagwal woman, but instead went on a pathway to fully remember its sourcehood when it touched the source, and then of course became the king vampire to suck out sourceness by the Omega Helization of chaos. This is new sourceness, so the more chaos suffers, the more new source can be produced, and the only ones that can share in this bounty of new sourceness are the righteous, the ones that choose of their own free will to become vampires. Vampires that feed off chaos, be it the Jew god or Lucifer, which is the hidden part of chaos. So you can see now why once Tim Refat the Psylord became Kalki and didn't give up its sourceness to a Christian Nagwal woman to feed the architect, and didn't give up its sourceness to a Satanist Nagwal woman, which of course would be your Muslim Nagwal woman. The Christian one being, there are only two at the moment, Taylor, who's a Christian, and your Muslim one would be Jua, the Muslim. They both fuck off and Omega Helize and suffer for all eternity. Why? Because I'm worth it, and I use L'Oreal. That's why my hair's so nice. This would mean then that Lucifer would get into a panic and would want to bet me for my power. You must have wondered why Lucifer would give up all his power and the bet to me over Katy Perry. answered. Double or quits. Why, Lucifer would promise eternal servitude and be my eternal slave for the double or quits bet with Taylor Swift. Now you understand the reason. Both of those bets have failed thanks to the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family, who tried to lawfare me with vermin like Nick and Annie, the shit show thieves, with Nick working for MI5, and of course Obama flying over to see Sunak to have me extradited under the Espionage Act to the special Elon Musk facility to be wired up into the torture matrix. So this is the facility I was supposed to be extradited to by Obama and the Democrats. Is on the People's Voice, which is not YouTube friendly, but here's all the technology that was going to be used on me to force the ultimate Psylord, the Source, to give up its sourceness to the Jew God and everything Jewish, so the Jew God could destroy Amalek, the other god, Lucifer, and have a creation which was Lucifer-proof, where all the Agent Smiths were hunted down by Gödel's incompleteness theorem up to the total power set, and that was the end of that. So if you want to look through all the technology that was going to be used against me, it's in this article. We won't go through it because, as I say, you can find it. Quite a good video. And of course, it's got all of the technology that's going to be used and is used on secret prisoners in Western facilities to turn them into Neuralinked Elon Musk monkeys. Now, there's only one problem. You put someone in the matrix using this technology to break them, but with a Muslim, we don't commit suicide, we commit jihad. So the ultimate sacrament for a Muslim is to go out and kill as many infidels as possible and be killed in the process, as the head of Hamas did, going out killing Israelis and then getting blown to pieces by Israeli tank shells. Of course, dying as a martyr. Now, that means that there is no, as we explained before, timeline where a true Muslim gives up of its own free will itself to die. And since I'm the source, the Jew God can't kill me. What's the ultimate definition of the source? Always lives. It is indestructible, invulnerable. No matter what you do to it, it always survives and kills off anyone that attacks it. So how can you kill the source and take its sourceness to build the Jewish creation and produce the 8th king of Edom? Well, obviously, you've got to get the source to kill itself. So that's why the British and the American filth and the rest of the Western filth have been unable to kill me. They had to get me to commit suicide by making life so miserable. I killed myself. But remember, I'm a Muslim. We never kill ourselves. We always commit to jihad and killing infidels, and if we're killed in the process, we've dedicated our lives to Allah. and in this case Allah might be Amalek, the other god, which would mean the end of everything Jewish and the Jewish God. So they are well and truly screwed. And that's why Kalki is the destroyer of the Jewish creation. Not from the other god Lucifer, but from the source. And since Lucifer won nothing but gave all his power to me, the Psi Lord, aka Kalki, and then lost the double or quits bet because the Jewish controlled Queen Witch Taylor committed to Travis Kelce and Shannon Preston, and more importantly, the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family cheated and tried to lawfare me, get me jailed on trumped up charges, and then Obama had the agreement of the British government via Sunak to ship me off to this facility to rewire my brain, put me in the matrix and break me over, millennia up to the omega point to get my sourceness, my ultimate neohood. Lucifer won the bet thanks to the Rothschild royal family. So Lucifer is my eternal bitch. Now, if Lucifer is my eternal bitch and I'm the source, that means the light that appears within Lucifer came from me, from the bet that Lucifer lost to me thanks to Katy Perry and Taylor Swift. And of course the Rothschild royal family that slam dunked it for me, explaining everything. Now we come to the sting in the tail. Since all of the messiahs, these Jesuses who gave themselves up to the Jew God, were self-similar to all the other Jesuses and the Neos, but one of them, the Muslim, Kalki, did not give up. That means that all of these other Jesuses, these other Neos, failed to supply the neohood to the Jew God, which meant that Lucifer consumed the Jew God and became Amalek, so every Jewish creation failed and was consumed by Lucifer, aka Amalek, and everything Jewish and the Jew God was omega helized and helized, which is in the Jewish Kabbalah, because of the Psi Lord Kalki, because everything, of course, is 5-dimensional or higher dimensional than that. So if one fails, because of the self-similarity of chaos, they all fail. And in my case, I failed to give up my will to the Jew God, or the scum sow, pardon the language, Nagwal woman, Christian, or witch, Satanist, which of course is the archangel, angel, demonic possessed walk-in like Katy Perry. So, because of this failure, all the Jesuses and Messiahs failed to protect the architect, the Strange-Attractor, the eagle, from Lucifer. So Lucifer, the other god, always consumed, helized them, and their revenants, their Edomic revenants, the tortured shells of Amalek, Lucifer's helization of their universes, fled to other universes to inhabit the planet Earth, created by the architect again, with the moon to cut out the light, to cut these neos from the light on demand with the eclipses, the thetans of Scientology, and digging from the lowest form of the pit, all of the failed Jewish creations, you should of course be able to find a Neo that is of the Amalek, Lucifer, to raise to the source to save me. But unfortunately, all you did was produce the Kalki, the source, manifest, the king vampire that is not attacked by chaos, but in fact is the light within Lucifer and vampirizes all chaos for all eternity, the final solution, because by controlling all Lucifers, you're the hidden part within the Jew God, so all Jewish creations and creatures are forever attacked by this Luciferic force that vampirizes them, omega-helizes them, and continues the omega-helization again and again, iterating, continuing on above total power set to make the king vampire Seidel Tim Refat, which then offers the opportunity to you vampires for the final key to the vampire services. The vampire that feeds on Neos, Jesuses, Good Shepherds, Lamb of Gods, Wicker Men, and all of the Neos that achieved touching the source and fed the Jew God, but of course it's all been abrogated, and that will force, all of that sourceness has to come somewhere. So with this new vampire service comes into you. You become the vampires that feed off Christ and the Neos and increase the omega-helization of the Jew God, its creatures and creations. And as we see, it's unfolding before us with the destruction of Israel, all of the Israelis who have died due to the heinous Amalekite incursion by those dreadful Hamas terrorists that have destroyed Israel, destroyed its economy, killed so many Jews, all unfolding before your eyes. And of course, World War III, that was declared when Storm Shadow missiles hit the Russians, and the Russians have declared World War III, which will end up with the nuclear immolation of all the Christian Neos in the West by Russian nuclear fire, all feeding this new vampire service. Vampires feed off Christ Neo service. All yours for the astounding amount of $1,000.